Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cosmic Weather for October of 2022. I am so excited to start shifting into the fourth quarter of the year. You guys know how I feel about this. And if you don't know how I feel about the fourth quarter, you need to go listen to my podcast episode on that. I explain all of the nitty-gritty details and how to really capitalize on this time of year, because you have different options, and these are just the ways that I like to work with it. So anyway, we're gearing up for 2023. At least that's how I like to work with it. That's how I like to play with it. And there is an element of being able to capitalize on this time to not drop the baton, but just make it through the finish line, but do not wait for the new year as the reset button. I don't recommend anyone do that. It's too much pressure on that day and on that time of year. I recommend building momentum beforehand. That's just my 2 cents, just my recommendation. But we're shifting into my favorite quarter of the year. So October is a quite interesting energy. I've been feeling into it for the past couple of weeks and just really getting the full picture for what's to come in October. And before I go into the full forecast, what I want to let you know is that Apex starts October 1st. So applications must be in by the 30th. You've got to be in by September 30th. And if you don't know what Apex is, it's a 2-month intensive with me. It is kind of like mastermind style in the sense that we have weekly calls and we have full Voxer, but it is my most impactful condensed container that I have ever created. And the point is, it's not meant to be sustained all year because of how intense it is, because there's a 6-week consumption fast, because there is a specific protocol that you're doing during the day that I received last year. That's when I created this whole thing. And so we are now shifting into Apex season once again. It is 2 months with me. It is absolutely profound. The results are completely insane. Every time I do Apex, my life radically transforms. I am not joking. I documented the last round on my Instagram if you're curious. I also have a highlight on my Instagram profile if you want to know more about it, if you want to check all of that out. But it is chef's kiss. It is one of the most incredible things that I have ever created, that I've ever received. Super honored to actually be able to hold space for this type of container just because it is so wildly impactful. And the way that I describe it is it's like Olympian style training for your energetic, spiritual, and emotional bodies. It is meant to really put you in peak performance energetically. And so a lot of the time, we get glimpses of it, or we can hold it for some time. But Apex is about putting yourself in a container where you are sustaining this and holding it for long extended period of time. It expands your perception of time, the amount of time that you feel that you have. It also just taps you into the pleasure that exists in your life already. It really supports your emotional digestion. So metabolizing and processing emotions get expedited. Manifestations pop like nobody's business. They drop in just at the most insane rate. And I'm very, very, very excited. So if you still want in, this is the time. I only run this program twice a year, and prices are going to be going up in 2023. Now is the time. This is going to completely change how you show up in 2023. The momentum that you're going to build heading into the upcoming year is going to be a total game changer. And so regardless of if you're shifting into spring, if you're in the southern hemisphere, maybe you want to capitalize on that spring fever energy that you have with more sunshine, more daylight, that activation of energy. If you're in the northern hemisphere, this can be a great time to just build your energy as you're moving into winter and then during that new year time so that you're not putting all of that pressure and front loading it in the beginning of the year, as I mentioned earlier. So this is, it is going to rock your world. Apex will change your life without a doubt. So I'm really excited for everyone who's inside. So if you feel the call, if you feel the nudge, now is the time. Now is the time. Now is the time. So the link will be in the description box or the show notes. You know where to find me. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the forecast. I'm just settling in here, just listening. And I really am just seeing two groups in October. So there's going to be somewhat of a split off. There could be a little bit of an overlap, but I think you're probably going to fall into one category more than the other. Some of you have had kind of a rough September, I'm getting, and so October has this relief energy. And understand that relief is not the end goal, right? So the main message coming through is don't stay complacent in relief, because even though relief is great, it's like you don't want to maintain relief. And the reason being is that in maintaining the energy of relief, it can perpetuate this cycle of stress and then relief, stress and then relief, stress and then relief. Because think about, well, the frequency of relief has adversity attached to it, right? So it's almost like, well, why are you feeling relief? Because there was something that came up that was really unsatisfying or really stressful, or there was some type of hardship. And now after the fact, I'm feeling relief because of how everything worked out. And the thing is, you don't want to stay there. Don't stay in relief. You need to keep climbing the ladder emotionally and make sure that you are continuing to calibrate yourself. Don't get lazy just because October is providing relief. This is really, really key for a lot of you. It's like, great, you have relief. Now keep going. Keep generating more and more energy in the direction that you want to go. Don't stop scripting. This is one of the places where people get really stuck is, okay, all of that worked out, so now I don't have to do any more energetic work. And that's going to bite you. October is one of those months where it's like you can be lazy now, but you're going to pay for it later. And I mean this in the most loving way. Do not slack off in October. It'll bite you. And the thing is, you're not going to see this is too harsh of a word. You're not going to see consequences of that in October. I'm saying proactively, if you are in the relief group, you need to understand that relief is just one step in your emotional expansion. And it's really critical that you keep moving upward, because if you're just focusing on one situation working out, more than likely, you're going to be don't let this scare you. I'm just telling you the pattern that people get stuck in sometimes is, okay, I'm manifesting this solution, but then there's another problem that's presented, and then I'm back on manifesting a solution to this problem. And rather than actually creating the energy of more than enough, or the energy of a cushion, or the energy of overall stability. And so stress and relief cycles, they come from a space of dysregulation, for one, because that can be addictive. Stress relief, stress relief, stress relief. It's like a lot of people are chemically addicted to that cycle. And so in October, it's like, yes, October is bringing relief, but don't stop there. Make sure that you are looking more holistically at what's going on and ask yourself, what do I really want if you look at the bigger picture? Money is a really great example of this. So Let's say you need money for a particular thing. You have a financial problem and you want a financial solution. And so you're manifesting a specific amount of money for a particular problem. But then what happens after that solution has taken place? So the money is spent. So now what? You're going to need more. And that's why this is not about an isolated incident. This is about looking at the whole picture. And so it's like, yes, full agreement for relief, full agreement for solutions, full agreement for everything that you want, and so much more. The thing is, you have to tap into the more part. You have to tap into, okay, but what is actually the composition of my life that I'm looking to lead? What is the true desire of my heart when I'm looking at the whole picture, not this micro situation? Because micro situations, while they can induce a lot of acute stress, they can also be a really intense distraction. They can distract you from what you're really wanting to do with your life. And this is the month to really dial in your vision and really make sure that you're aiming at something bigger and you're looking at frequencies that are more stable. So instead of looking at, I just want a solution to this one problem, whether that be a conflict with your partner or a financial situation or one step in your health, right? Start looking more broad. Start aiming at things that are bigger picture, because that is going to help you. It's going to help you generate the energy and create the landscape that you're going to want to walk through later. So it's like you're continually painting this picture. So you have to paint it before you walk into it, before you step into it. And that's why you need to be cautious with the stress and relief cycles that you may have been living in. Okay? So if you're experiencing acute fixation on one issue, go a little bit bigger. Go a little bit bigger. What if you weren't just getting the bare minimum? What if you went a little bit more? What is the actual desire? Because I can guarantee you, the desire of your heart is not, I just want this one solution. I just want this one thing to work out. Just please, just this one little thing. I just want this thing to work out. No, it's not. No, it's not. You don't just want that one thing. You want something that is more long lasting. You want things that are bigger. It's like, look at what is underneath the desire. Your desire for money, or for this situation to work out financially, is actually pointing to all sorts of freedom and stability and fun and limitlessness that you want to have access to. Your desire to have more dates or quality time or affection with your partner is actually underlying something so much deeper, right? Spending more time dropped into your heart, spending more time in that free flow communication, in that radical self-expression. There are themes that hold a larger context than a micro situation. Same thing with your health. You don't just want the labs to come back clean. You don't just want that. You want to feel true vitality. You want to feel well. You want to feel nourished. You want to feel mobile, flexible. You want to feel alive. There's all sorts of things that you want that are more broad strokes. So October is a great month to go broad with your vision. Think a little bit bigger. Think a little bit farther out and ask yourself the deeper question. Not what do I want from this situation, but how do I want to feel in the overall context of my life? How do I desire to move through things and navigate things? If I assumed this were already resolved, this were already cleared up, What else would I want beyond that? Go deeper, go farther, go broader. It's going to be a big help for many of you. And so allow yourself to contemplate this, really ask yourself those questions and aim at that. Because the micro situations in your life are probably more stress-inducing than liberating. And the broader you go, the more of that liberation you'll be able to tap into and that you'll really be able to feel. Okay, so that's group 1. I'm just tuning into group 2. We're going to shift gears here for a second. Group 2 is getting a big perceptual shift. What I mean is I'm getting this visual of piercing the veil and there being this big growing beam of light. Like you're seeing things beyond present time reality and you are getting a closer, more in-depth look at your energetic emission as it pertains to the creations that you have going on. And that's really, it's almost like an amplified mirror. So October is going to be highly, highly sensitive and reflective for you. And I mean this in the best way possible because that also means that you are going to be able to get positive feedback really quickly. Don't put all your eggs in that basket. Don't let that distract you. Don't let that distract you because one of the ways that you can potentially, jack up the energy is by saying, okay, I've been good. I've been good for 5 minutes, but it's not here. Nope. October is so sensitive that you are going to have to maintain consistently, really, really consistently, what you're wanting. Now, the sensitivity is also indicating things can happen at light speed. Your alignment is moment by moment by moment, and things have the potential to drop in instantaneously like a lightning bolt. Right? That's actually what is available. But if you are using what I'm saying as the condition that you're measuring against, then you're going to regress. Then you're going to start weaponizing it against yourself. So that's where you want to be careful. Is I'm saying, yes, things can go fast, but it's going to be sensitive in both directions. So if your energy is off, you're going to get feedback. October isn't going to allow there to be a big gap. It's like I would recommend that even the things that you have going on in your life, look at it as, what am I getting from other people? And use it as data for what's going on internally. And if you're noticing that there's a lot of funk in your field, then just consider that to be where your work is being done. Okay, so that's information for you. That's an indication, okay, I need to energetically adjust myself. That's all it is. Don't read into it too heavily. It's all just data. And the more that you can look at your current world as being extremely plastic and malleable for yourself, the easier this month is going to be. If you take anything too, not seriously, what is the word I'm looking for? If you are perceiving reality as being too solidified or too concrete, that's when it's really going to be disruptive to your system. You're not going to feel good if that's what you're doing perceptually. So if you're saying, I'm getting bad data, oh no. Now, it's like that can change in an instant, but it's pointing you back to yourself. It's pointing you back to what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're emitting energetically, the story that you're telling, how you're holding yourself, what type of action you're taking. It's reflecting, and it can change moment by moment. So just allow yourself to remember this can change moment by moment. And my job is to hold strong in my desired energy. And because of the hypersensitivity for group 2, this is what I mean by your perception is going to shift immensely. Particularly, I would imagine for those who are in Apex, this is going to be very relevant for you. Because October is going to deliver immediate feedback. This is what you're doing energetically. That's what it's going to show you. And it's not going, and it's like the speed in which things can drop in, it's going to give you the opportunity to shift faster. So if you're getting data that you don't like, then it's saying shift now, come back to self now, bust out your tools right now, do it now, do it now, do it now. That's what October is offering you. There's more here. Let me tune in. I want to go back and emphasize not to get conditional with what I said earlier, as far as you have to hold the energy even when you are not seeing movement. You've got to go first because the universe is behind you. And yes, things can happen fast. But whatever data that you're collecting is either reflecting back to you, keep doing what you're doing, or shift what you're emitting. Those are the only two directions it can really go. And the greater your sensitivity, the faster you will go. This is why in Apex, the consumption fast makes such a big difference. Because if you're on a consumption fast, your sensitivity and your awareness of what's happening with your mental body and your emotional body and your energetic body is through the roof. Because you're not numbing, because you're not engaging in these behaviors that dull the senses. You're increasing your sensitivity. You're opening things up in terms of your awareness. And so this is where that feedback is really going to serve you. It's going to be really supportive. And it's also giving you this otherworldly perception about what's to come and how you are entangled with the universe and with the powers that be. So the thing is, you have to go first. You have to emit first. The only necessary condition that must be met is that you cannot wait for things to shift as a condition that makes you feel better. You can't, because this is going to be so reflective and it's going to be giving you feedback that is so immediate that it's like you don't want to wait. Waiting, that's the real piece that wants to come through next, is don't wait. Waiting is kryptonite for you in October if you're in group 2. Waiting for conditions to shift, waiting for a perceptual right time. Think about it this way. Timing doesn't matter as much as energy. Your energy and your alignment is actually what informs the timing, not the other way around. You're not waiting for the right time. You are aligning, and then you feel the timing of what happens next. You feel inspired to the right moment. Because your alignment is where there's that blending. It's that creation point where the physical and the energetic are blended together. So this is not waiting. If you have it in your mind, like I need to wait for conditions, that's the issue. If you have to wait for that's a problem, because what that's indicating is that your energetic system is holding the energy of waiting. And then what does waiting do? Waiting results in more waiting and more waiting and more waiting. It's not good this month. Not the vibe for October. You are not waiting. You are aligning. And in your alignment, you will feel the rightness in your action. But everything leading up to that moment in which it takes place is you getting your energy on board. You're not waiting. This is an active process, not passive. Whatever you need to do in order to get yourself on board, right? Whether that be more emotional, more mental, using whatever types of tools you have under your belt, right? All of that stuff is going to be variable for everyone. But the key thing to remember is that you are not waiting. You are not waiting. You are not waiting. Like if you are taking notes on this, that is the thing that I would make in big, bold letters. You are not waiting, you are aligning, and aligning is active. You are an active participant in this process, and the requirement here is that you hold it first so that it's being held long enough where the universe will reflect it back to you. That is the work. That is where things go from here. That is how you experience radical improvements. Anything else? Anything else on that matter? Okay, so the other piece that's coming through for group 2, don't underestimate micro moves and micro improvements in terms of your emotional body. Okay, so when we're talking about emotional digestion or a perceptual shift, so feeling marginally better in energetic terms is a big jump. So as I said, you're not waiting. You are incrementally digesting your emotions to the point where you can get closer to fulfillment, joy, those high frequencies. So you know that when Joe Dispenza talks about like the really, really, really high frequencies, or maybe if you took Fabric of the Universe, ultraviolet. Ultraviolet is fast. Ultraviolet is also very high, right? So that can take a lot of different shapes in terms of emotions. That can look a lot of different ways. However, it does not mean that you have to be in this super high speed zone in order for things to dramatically improve. Because if you are just making these smaller emotional adjustments, they can make a big impact. So people look at this a little bit too black and white. They think about it in a binary sense. Like I either feel horrible or I feel ecstatic joy. There is so much wiggle room. There is so much to play with. There are so many incremental, like aim for 5% improvement, not necessarily making a 30% improvement. That might be too much. And so it really wants you, October really wants you to count the small emotional steps forward, because those are going to grow and they're going to expand and they will get bigger inevitably. Okay, so don't sleep on those. Don't dismiss them. Don't brush them off. Understand they matter a lot, really. So use those, and also celebrate them. So one time on my Instagram story, this is coming to me now, I explained that I was celebrating frustration because it was an indication of how far I've come. The fact that I was frustrated instead of in despair, that's a huge sign of growth. And this is something that I don't think people talk about enough, is this is all relativity. It's relative. This was going on in my relational experience, in my love life, where I used to just default to despair all the time. And then when I started experiencing things and it was more like agitation, annoyance, frustration, I was like, holy crap, I've come a long way. That's a radical improvement. And so now it's like, then the metric is, something else. Like on a bad day, what does a bad day look like? You can measure the actual improvements that you're experiencing by what is your default on a bad day. The needle moves. You are able to see how much the needle has moved in the face of something challenging, difficult, frustrating. I'm not talking about, some huge tragedy or trauma. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying the normal human stuff. Just the human irritations, the human annoyances that go on. The things where maybe you've been highly reactive or you have had that default state that really didn't feel good, right? So whatever the case, celebrate the relative improvement in your emotional body. Whatever that looks like for you this month, celebrate it, celebrate it, celebrate it, celebrate it, because it is an indication that you're moving in the right direction, that you are growing, you are improving, things are getting better, and they're going to continue to get better. Don't sleep on that. Give yourself all the credit, and you are going to notice that you'll have greater awareness of your emotional body. And that is going to help you measure more accurately. All right. So anything else? That feels complete. I have a really good feeling. This applies to everyone. I have a really good feeling about October. I don't know what it is. It's just this bubbling, effervescent vibe that October has going on. So even though the groups seem to be pretty distinct, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of overlap. They're very clear when I'm reading this situation. Yeah. But overall, I have a good feeling. So take that as your good omen. Take that as your positive sign. Just good things all around. Oh, one thing I forgot. I recently did a fall or an autumn equinox meditation. Definitely get inside that if you want to transition into fall. It is whimsical. It is like an interactive story time. It's a whole lot of fun. The meditation is just awesome. So if you want to get inside, that's available on replay. If you'd like to get inside that, it's, just I would call it like seasonal medicine for you, right? So if you want to get in that, that's available too. And once again, apply to Apex if you feel the call to that. And I believe that's it. All right, my friends, have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Best of luck in October. I know you're going to crush it. It's going to be amazing. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.